The gray SUV crawled along the narrow mountain road, its tires crunching over loose gravel. Outside the windows, the Appalachian Mountains stretched endlessly, thick forests stacked like dark green walls sealing off the horizon. The last traces of sunset bled away, casting a strange, dim orange glow over the treetops, like embers smoldering in the dark. Inside the car, 3 college students were on their summer road trip. Ethan, the driver, calm and a little stubborn. Chloe, the lively girl with a camera always hanging around her neck. And Mark, short-tempered, impatient, but bold and eager to help anyone. GPS is gone again, Chloe sighed, staring at her phone's flickering screen. The signal bars had vanished, leaving only a spinning, useless icon. Ethan tightened his grip on the wheel. It's fine. Just keep straight. This road's gotta hit the highway eventually. Mark groaned from the back seat. We've been driving for nearly 2 hours without a single road sign. If we've got summer classes tomorrow, we're already screwed. Ethan chuckled, trying to cut through the tension. Come on, Mark. Think about it. We'll have a crazy story to tell. It's not every day you get lost in the Appalachians. Chloe raised her camera, snapping a quick shot of the deep woods. When she checked the screen, the photo was darker than reality, as if nightfall was racing in faster than it should. She glanced outside again, eyes narrowing at the twisted tree trunks. Something wasn't right. The light was fading too quickly, though it wasn't even 6 o'clock. Suddenly, Ethan eased off the gas. Ahead, the asphalt ended, giving way to an old dirt track veering off to the right. It was narrow, carpeted with dead leaves, and the trees on either side leaned inward to form a long, suffocating tunnel. Shortcut, maybe, Ethan muttered, squinting. It's not on the map, Chloe said, shaking her phone. Google Maps was a blank void here. Mark let out a half-mocking laugh. Road's a road, as long as it gets us out of the woods. You want to turn back? Chloe smirked nervously. Could be some kind of old retro route nobody uses anymore. Ethan hesitated. Then, as if tugged by something unseen, he turned the wheel and steered onto the trail. The moment the tires rolled over the leaf-strewn ground, the air shifted, heavier, thicker, as though the forest was closing shut behind them. Chloe swallowed hard, clutching her camera. For an instant, she felt they had crossed an invisible threshold, and there would be no way back. No. Before they had taken the turn, the group had stopped in a tiny mountain town to get gas and food. The place was almost cut off from the world. A few weathered wooden houses, a dimly lit general store, and narrow, empty streets. Inside the shop, an old woman with silver hair sat behind the counter. Her cloudy eyes sharpened the moment she saw them. She muttered something under her breath as Ethan handed her the cash. Where are you kids headed? Her voice was gravelly, slow. Just a road trip, Ethan replied. We're crossing the mountains, hoping to hit the highway. Her eyes flickered strangely. She leaned forward and whispered, Don't go onto Hollow Road. None of them had heard the name before. Chloe, curious, pressed for more, and the old woman began her tale. Long ago, people spoke of a cursed road, erased from maps. Anyone who entered it would hear familiar voices calling from the woods. A loved one, someone already gone. They would follow, wandering deeper, until they collapsed and died. The spirit behind it all was the faceless woman, the guide and devourer of all who dared to walk her path. That road won't lead you anywhere. the old woman finished, her trembling hand clutching at empty air. Silence hung heavy. Then Mark burst out laughing. Sounds like some cheap ghost story to scare tourists. Ethan smirked, adding,
If it were real,
yeah, if it were real, who'd come back to tell the tale? Only Chloe frowned, each word of the warning carving itself into her mind. Ethan thanked the woman half-heartedly, and they left. The three of them joked on their way to the car, but when Chloe turned back for one last glance, the old woman was still standing behind the glass, staring at them with hollow eyes. Me. In. The SUV rolled on through the strange road. No houses, no signs, only the endless crush of trees pressing close. The gas gauge dropped faster than it should, as if the car's life was being siphoned away. This can't be right, Ethan muttered, staring at the dial. We had half a tank just a while ago. Mark started to joke, but the words froze in his throat when he looked outside. Darkness had fallen. Not dusk, but a dense, suffocating black, swallowing all traces of light. The dashboard clock read just after 6, yet the world beyond looked like midnight. Let's stop, Chloe whispered, her voice trembling. Ethan pulled the car to the side. Inside, silence pressed down so heavily they could hear their own heartbeats. As night settled, the forest came alive with strange noises. The hiss of wind threading through branches, the brittle snap of dry twigs, and, somewhere out there, the faint sound of footsteps. Then came the thing that froze them all. From the darkness, each of them heard a familiar voice calling their name. Ethan's mother, Chloe's younger sister, Mark's long-dead father, someone from the past beckoning them into the trees. Mark's face drained of color, his teeth clenched. No way. None of them dared step outside, yet the voices persisted, louder, closer, as though their loved ones were standing right at the edge of the woods. Whoa, tiny. In the suffocating darkness, the voices grew clearer. Ethan nearly lurched upright when he heard his mother's voice, gentle yet urgent, just like when he was a child sneaking home late. Ethan, come here. Chloe trembled, her eyes brimming with tears. I hear Katie. That's my sister's voice. Mark went rigid. In his ears, his long-dead father spoke, warm and heartbreakingly familiar. Mark snarled. Enough! This is just an illusion. We shouldn't. He didn't finish. Chloe's hand shot out, pointing toward the trees ahead. A figure stood half-hidden among the branches. A woman in a tattered white dress, her long hair hanging down to cover almost all of her face. The group held their breath, straining to see. The wind shifted, blowing the hair aside. There was no face, only a hollow void, black and endless, like a pit without bottom. Chloe screamed, throwing her hands over her eyes. Ethan gripped the steering wheel tight, as if it were the only thing anchoring him to reality. For a heartbeat, the forest fell silent. Only their ragged breathing remained. Then, from deep within the woods, the voices returned. This time, they didn't just call names. They urged. Come home. Ethan restarted the engine and made the decision to turn back. The SUV's tires crunched over the carpet of dead leaves as he steered in the opposite direction. The group held their breath, silently praying to see a town, or at least the highway, soon. But after nearly an hour of driving, the scenery was exactly the same. The moss-covered boulder by the roadside, the twisted old tree with its branch like a massive arm reaching across the road, and their own SUV sitting silently on the shoulder. No way, Chloe stammered. "We just drove in a circle," she whispered. Panic surged through Mark. He slammed his fists against the window. "We're trapped. I'm getting out. I'll run if I have to." Ethan clamped a hand on his shoulder. "Don't be stupid. You don't know what's out there." But in every mind, the same terror had already taken root. This road obeyed no natural law. It was leading them in endless circles, as if toying with its prey. No one dared to say it aloud, but all of them knew they had walked straight into a trap. The night was freezing, mist seeping into the SUV. No one could sleep, their eyes locked on the pitch black outside. Suddenly, Ethan jolted upright. He heard a familiar voice whisper right by his ear. "Ethan, it's Mom." The voice of his mother, gone for years after the accident. Warm, tender, so real it made his chest tighten. "No, that's impossible," he muttered, then pushed the door open. "Ethan, don't!" Mark grabbed for his arm but missed. Ethan was already outside, striding straight into the woods. Panic exploded in the group. They scrambled after him, their shouts echoing through the night. All they found were footprints pressed into the damp leaves, leading deeper and deeper, until they abruptly stopped. No Ethan, no voice, only an empty chill and the heavy stench of rot. Chloe broke down in tears. Mark cursed under his breath. He glanced around at the endless forest, heart pounding out of control. For the first time, he felt certain none of them would make it out alive. So. The group returned to the road, some trembling, others frozen in shock. They hardly spoke, only the sound of ragged breathing mingling with the wind whistling through the forest. As they walked along the edge of the road, searching for any sign, Chloe froze. Beneath a thick layer of dead leaves, she spotted a rusty sign, half buried in the earth. She brushed it clean, revealing the faded letters. Hollow Road, closed since 1887. Chloe's blood ran cold. She called Mark over to look. No one could speak a word. This road hadn't existed for over 100 years. Chloe remembered the old woman's warning in the town, her words echoing in her mind. "Don't go into Hollow Road." She choked. "We're no longer on any map. This thing exists only to trap us." Mark sank to his knees, clutching his head. Chloe broke down, crying uncontrollably. Meanwhile, the forest seemed unnaturally silent, as if waiting. "Ended soon, and cancer on the wind." The wind screamed, leaves whirling across the road. Then, from deep within the shadows, the figure appeared. A woman in a tattered white dress, patches of rotting cloth clinging to her like decay itself, hovered motionless. Her feet didn't touch the ground, long hair draping over her upper body. When she lifted her head, the group froze. Where her face should have been, there was only a black void, as if darkness itself had shaped into human form. She opened her mouth, but no sound came. Instead, a shrill screech filled the air like metal scraping stone. Her unnaturally long arms slowly reached out, fingers trembling, pointing toward the forest. The space around them twisted. Trees shifted, shadows moved like liquid, and the road stretched into infinity. Everything felt like a living nightmare. Chloe collapsed, screaming, "Cher, she wants us to follow." Mark screamed, his eyes bloodshot with panic. He lunged toward the entity, ignoring everyone's cries to stop. "Take me then! Take me if you want!" In an instant, the white figure spread its arms wide, and Mark vanished into the pitch-black void, leaving no trace behind. Chloe sank to her knees, gripping herself, but her whispers were swallowed by the endless nothingness. There was no God here. A suffocating despair rose in Chloe. They knew that if they kept following the road, they would only repeat the circle until death. "We have to break the rules," Chloe thought. "We can't follow the road anymore. We have to push straight through the forest." Wiping away her tears, she strode forward, cutting through the dense woods. Behind her, the faceless woman still hovered, her unnaturally long arms continuing to beckon. "Nay." Chloe plunged into the forest. Branches whipped against her skin, drawing streaks of blood, but she kept running headlong. The thick darkness clung to every step, and the wind shrieked like a sinister laugh. "Keep going, don't stop," Chloe told herself. She stumbled, fell, scrambled back up, and ran again, her breath ragged. In a fleeting moment of desperation, a faint glimmer appeared ahead, a fragile shaft of light piercing through the shadows of the trees. "I'm almost out of here," Chloe screamed, tears welling in her eyes. She burst out of the thicket and froze. Before her stood a rusted sign. "Hollow Road, closed since 1887. The road stretched empty before her, silent and deserted. The darkness behind was hollow, still. "Is anyone here?" Chloe shouted, her voice echoing into the deep forest. There was no answer. She trembled and took a step back. The wind abruptly ceased. A cold breath brushed against her neck. "Chloe," a familiar, sweet voice, like a memory. "Come home." Chloe turned around. The faceless woman stood directly behind her, the black void where her face should be threatening to swallow her whole. Night closed in. "We'll see,"